Hey everyone, this video is about feelings, and this topic is very kind of dear to me because I've always been a very sensitive person, and I've always been somewhat overwhelmed by feelings and sensations since I was growing up. My experience of life and feelings span from the age of 3. Remember my mom used to cover my eye because I have a lazy eye, and back in 1995 they used to cover the doctors recommended her to cover the only eye I could see in order for me to develop my sight better. So I spent a lot of time not seeing, so I developed a great sense of feeling, and a few traumatic events happened to me, and this resulted me in becoming very self-aware of how people felt, like how their nervous systems were feeling. So I couldn't see, so I could sense. So I started becoming more like a sensing person, let's say. So when I work with my clients, I read their body language, but I also sense their breathing and how their nervous system is being when they're talking to me. And I'm also perhaps sometimes overwhelmed by their senses, because I'm so open and I'm so sensory aware that I can read your body language. I can sense, how a person's heart is beating, because I developed those senses to kind of be able to assess what was happening in my environment. So when it comes to feelings, there's different types of feelings, but really the dominant ones are fear or love. So anything that is anxiety, anger, jealousy, anything that is kind of lower than love, it's going to be of lower frequency. And anything that is higher than love, like hope, joy, cheerfulness, gratitude, all these feelings are connected with love, and they're all uplifting. So what to do about them? Why are they here? So feelings, to me, I use them like a compass to navigate my reality, my present moment. So when I assess that I'm feeling a low vibration emotion, I become aware of what thoughts I'm having. So I pay attention. I become more like an observer. So I observe what is happening in my environment. Why am I reacting in this kind of sense? But so basically, like looking at this compass, you start navigating to your present moment, which is that's the only real thing that you have got. You don't have your past and you don't have your future, you just have now. And now is where everything happens. It's like, imagine you're in a stage and there's only now. There's no past, there's no future. But often we get stuck in the past, and that's like a state of depression, or in the future, which is a state of anxiety. And this disconnection can be caused by many things, like unhealthy gut, or it could be trauma, or a blockage or a pattern that one has that hasn't been able to be shifted. So there are exercises that you can do to keep yourself in the present moment by identifying where you are in that compass. So if you're in a state of fear or anxiety or low mood, or you're not focused, you need to center yourself. You need to learn to be more present. So maybe sitting on the ground, touching a tree, hugging a tree, touching the earth, slowing your breathing, catching up with yourself, so you can detach from that emotion. So you can actually say, hey, emotion, let's take a 10 minutes time out, and you catch yourself, actually creating space through your breathing to allow yourself some space to maneuver that emotional sort of wave you were navigating on, that maybe is not your preferred wave. But most of us don't have that awareness, and what we get learned to do by our society and our parents is to shut up, suppress our emotions, and disconnect. So most people disassociate from moment to moment because emotions can become very overwhelming and unmanageable. So through this month, I'll be giving you some exercises of grounding and catching up with yourself. So there's certain things you can do to manage emotions, because even love and falling in love can be also overwhelming. You know, you can have a sense of gratitude, but an extreme sense of gratitude can be completely overwhelming, and you can become so unbalanced that you give all your possessions to people because you're feeling so grateful and so kind and so on. So there's various types of emotions, and they all have a positive and negative polarity. So let's say you can be overly kind, and you want to calibrate that. You want to learn to calibrate that so you can actually live a balanced life, because none of us want to be in a state of too much love that we go out in a society like this and we kind of like completely give ourselves and our organs to everyone and our possessions, and then you know, as if you don't matter. So we all matter, and it's important to be able to manage emotions and to learn to navigate through life. So this is what I've learned. I mean, there's many tools and many teachers, and you can research many of them. But I'm just here to simplify things and maybe describe things to some extent. I mean, obviously, if you have such a low mood and it's unmanageable and you're depressed for months, I would suggest you should go to your doctor. But I also would advise you to see a doctor if they prescribe any medication. Also see a counselor to see if you could talk about those issues. If you're more open-minded, I would suggest you to try anything from seeing a hypnotherapist, a healer. I mean, go out there and search. There's so many projects about depression that can really enlighten your experience if you're going through that. I mean, in spirituality, all these things have different meanings. So be open and be flexible with yourself. Don't just allow yourself to just go through a path and take medication when actually changing your diet could be more suitable. Maybe leaving the environment that you are and going somewhere else, like a field in nature, and going for a long walk could actually benefit you, you know, enrolling in a gym perhaps. So there's lots of things you can do, but taking care of yourself in that state is the most important, because it's not a very healthy emotion to have. It's a state of being that can be caused by many things. So yes, have advice from your doctor. But when it comes to anxiety, there's lots of exercises you can do, and yes, there's medication, but I would advise it with the counseling, with other type of support, so you wouldn't be just dependent on a medication because there's always a core wound for any kind of these problems. So when you're feeling overwhelmed by emotions, ground yourself, and I can give you a simple breathing exercise that you could do, which is to count to 10, and each number you take a deep breath and you pause and you count to 10 and you breathe in and out. So I can go through it with you and cut. So like, I don't know, I was just simplifying that.